spring, scholarship guys that are going to get a lot of work, and Wes has done a great job. We're going to move Trenton inside, so he's going to move the wheel. So you'll see him out there, and I think that's a great that's the move for him for his future. Eventually he'll be able to play some Mike too, but we're going to really lock him in at that will position. And then McGuire and Levante are really proud of both of them and how they finished. Those two guys can play Will and Mike. They can play either one. Barrett will start out at our nickel Sam, and I think eventually he'll be inside one day. But Barrett's a very unique player. Those of you who followed him a little bit in high school, you know how dynamic, how fast he is. He could go play safety for us. I mean, he really has that type of athleticism, and so he gives us a very unique guy at that spot. And then Sergio, getting him back at some point this spring, we'll get him rolling back in there as well. So I'm excited about the group, man. I mean, it's going to start, like I said, with McGuire and Trenton and Levante, and then my man Trotter. This is as good a linebacker as we've signed here. He is a true bona fide dude, and he can play the mic or the will. So it's a fun group. They'll be fun to watch this spring, and I think the future's really bright right now, and really bright for the future at that position.
Health-wise, how is DJ doing, and what were the last couple months like for him?
Yeah, DJ looks great. First of all, just so proud of how he finished. So proud of how he led. He'd be the first one to tell you, hey, he's got a lot he needs to go improve on and get better. But kid never made excuses, never pointed fingers, never did anything. And I've never had a young quarterback that didn't make mistakes. Deshaun, Trevor, the difference between Deshaun and Trevor was DJ's mistakes were magnified. We weren't near as good around him as we were those other two dudes. But I promise you, they made plenty of mistakes. That was a terrible pass that Trevor threw to Justin Ross in the national championship. Terrible. But Justin Ross reached back behind him, back here, and one hands it, and everybody's cheering and yelling. If he didn't do that, everybody been booing Trevor. But the positive of that, of what DJ went through last year, is I think it accelerated all the other stuff that has to come with being a great quarterback. His mental toughness, his leadership, his grit, his thick skin, just the will to win, all that stuff, I think got accelerated through his experience this past year. He looks amazing. It's been a long time since he's been 240. I think he's lost about 15, 16 pounds. He looks great. Starts with him, and man, I think he's going to have an amazing year. I really do. So, but the first thing is he's got to get better in things he's got to do. He took too many sacks, and I can criticize him on some things that he's got to do, but we got to get better around him, and we will. And here's the number one reason. Here's the number one way we got to get better is get some of these guys back and ready to go, and get the offensive line solidified, get our center position ready to roll. Get our backs healthy and those type of things. He's going to do great.
What are the things you challenged him to improve on in the off time?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, he needed to build on the things from last year. I mean, he took 8.5 sacks, and the majority of those were the first part of the season. Holding the ball, not managing the pocket well, some fundamentals, some technical things, but you saw as the latter part of the season, all the things I needed to see, I saw from him. But that would be the very first thing. We threw too many interceptions. Not all those were on him. So ball security, managing the pocket, fundamentals, technique, and getting the ball out. Those are all things that he needs to improve on, and just decision making overall. But and he did. Most of his stuff was early part of the season. That last little 6-game run there that we finished with, he really did a nice job in a lot of areas for us. With being injured, a bad knee and a bum finger. He just kept playing. Been very easy for him to grab the sideline. And so just building on how he finished and just continuing to develop and be that very polished quarterback and leader that we need him to be.
Do you think that having a guy like Cade in there to both push him in practice, but also a guy that you're trying to, the stuff that you're doing, you're trying to explain it to the younger guy too, can that be some beneficial thing to DJ as he's trying to develop this spring as well?
Absolutely. I think the more good players you have, the better. Good players make each other better, and so I don't think there's any question about that. Miles Murphy made KJ better, made Xavier Thomas better, and all those guys. So, and it's great for Cade to be able to learn from a guy like DJ, just like it was great for DJ to learn from Trevor. And so it'll be a good situation for us. And then we'll get Hunter in here, and he won't be here today, but you'll see him in and around during spring practice. He can't participate, but he'll be around, and then he'll be here for summer one, ready to go for skills and drills, and he's going to be a great asset to both of those guys. As we pull it all together this summer.
Miller and Fowler, we're going to go start out with
Tackle. Let's start out at tackle, and they're. I don't know if y'all have seen them up close, but that's what they look like. That's two grown men right there, and I've been incredibly impressed with them. They are way ahead of what your typical freshman is from a physical standpoint. Mentally, we'll see when we get out there and the fastballs start coming, but physically, I mean, they are as strong a high school senior as you're going to find out there. I mean, they are really, really physically in a good spot. So I love how they competed and pushed through the mat drills. So we'll see how they do.
As far as Xavier Thomas, what do you think he gained from an additional year? Did you plan any role in selling him?
I had nothing to do. No, I had anything to do with it. He came to me. I thought he's one of them. I thought was for sure leaving. But it's just kind of interesting. That's why you never know. Recruiting process. Everybody said he was coming here 3 years and leaving, and man, he didn't know a lot of football when he got here as a freshman. He physically was ready, but he had a lot of learning. Then you don't know what's coming. Everybody's got a different journey and challenges and all those things. But what you see in Xavier Thomas is maturity. A very mature young man, a very wise young man that didn't want to settle for where his projection was. And he was having some fun. He really, I think, coming off that really challenging season he had in 20, he really had some fun getting himself back where he needed to be. And he's just, he doesn't feel like, he was the best version of himself. And so he's come back to be the very best version of himself. And in 9 months, this thing's over. In 9 months, you're heading into the postseason, whatever you earn. And man, this kid is focused and driven, and I'm just really, really proud of who he's become. The type of leader that he's become. He's one of those guys that got a ton of votes for leaders, being one of the guys as they see as a leader. He's earned that. So, he's set up to go have a great year, and hopefully the good Lord will keep him healthy, and he'll be able to do just that. But it's a really good group. We got 4 guys at end that this time next year are going to be getting ready, to head off to the NFL. And to know that we've got all 4 of those guys back for one more year is a blessing. I mean, we got a chance to be really, really special in that defensive line when we get everybody back together.
Yeah, but given the newness of a lot of your staff, how much do all these injuries and all these absences take away from what you would like to do?
I don't think a lot, to be honest with you. I mean, obviously, I'd like to have Brzee out there. I'd like to have Davis Allen out there. I'd like to have Shipley, but Shipley and Kobe have got a lot of experience now. They spent a year with Spiller, So I think we're in good shape. We got pretty much all the linemen out there that getting guys back. They're all going to be able to participate. It'll be exciting when we get a few more guys in this summer from a freshman standpoint. But it is what it is. I mean, you coach what you got. But these guys that are out, they'll be ready. Shipley will be ready. Robert Gunn, it'd be nice to have him out there, but BT's back. Brian Brzee will be ready to play. Who we open up with? Georgia Tech, he'll be ready. Will Taylor will be ready. My man Trey Williams will be ready. We'll have plenty of time to coach those guys up. Tyler Venables has played a ton of football for us. He'll be ready to go. Sage Ennis got a lot of experience last year. It would have been nice to have him out there. But the opportunity for Brenningstool, Sage and Davis kind of on ice, kind of like Maffa. Brenny gets to be the guy. And, man, what a special talent he is. So he'll be fine. Davis Allen's played a ton of football for us. Sergio's going to get worked back in. Malcolm is a junior. We just got to get him healthy. And then EJ's probably the one that I would have liked to have had him out there this spring. But and we could have probably tried to go through, but we just made the decision. Let's get it done. Let's be done with it, and let's get him ready to go by the time we start in May.
Dabo, I don't think you were able to speak on him because you hadn't announced yet, but TJ Dudley, what did you guys kind of like when you identified him, and what do you kind of feel like he brings to the linebacker?
Thumper. His nickname's Bull, and that's a good nickname. First of all, he's a great athlete. He's a really good basketball player. If you ever watch him play basketball, he's a double-digit guy, double rebound guy. He is a really good athlete, very smart. I love the program that he came from. He's Kylan's teammate there. Great family, and just a good fit for us. He's got good range. I think he's a multiple position guy, and just a great fit for us. But he's a thumper. He's a thumper.
And did DJ decide on his own that he needed to lose that weight, or is that something you guys kind of talked to him at the end of the season that you'd like to see him shed a few pounds?
Yeah, it's something we talked about. But it was definitely his decision. We can talk about all we're doing. He's just maturing as a person, as a young person, and understands that he's got to. He's never going to be little, ever. Just a big man, but he knew that he could do a little better job with some of his composition, and certainly something that we talked to him about. But he's a really good athlete, and him working like he's worked, I think, is going to pay good dividends for him.
Defensive end, you got Greg Williams, a veteran guy, changed
Yep.
positions a couple years
Yep.
ago after the injury.
Yep.
Talk about him, and then also Zaire Patterson, one of the younger guys.
Well, the plus about having those four guys, we'll probably just rep them with the ones, all four of them really, and keep their reps down, get the work they need. We got a lot of fundamental stuff and technical stuff we need to do, but it's going to be a great opportunity for Greg and Zaire and Denhoff, Swint. Forget about Swint, man. Swint's a dude. He is a baller. Greg made huge improvement, toward the end of the season, and he's primed to really go have a great finish in his career over these next few years. So I'm super excited about that group. I know it can be a little frustrating. They've had to be patient. So that's one of our main objectives this year, is to really bring Greg and Swint and Cade and Zaire, really bring them to another level. It'll be fun. We got a young kid named Armand Mason that I think, if he'll hang in there, he's a walk-on guy. Had some offers smaller levels, but if he'll hang in there, he could be a guy in a couple of years. He's got some tools. He's just got to keep getting bigger physically and kind of hang in there with the process. So it's a good group. And then we'll add Jaheim will be here this summer.
How healthy is DJ, the knee and the finger?
He looks great, man. He looks great. I was with him last night at an event we had to go to in Columbia, so spent a lot of time with him yesterday. He looks really good.
Will he wear the brace still?
That's a good question. I don't know if he will or not. We'll find out here shortly. I didn't ask him.
Putnam moving center, who's going to kind of get the starting reps right now?
We'll start out with Mitchell in our live work. We'll start out with him in there, and again cross-train him, and really kind of keep Colin and Blake right now at the tackle spots, and let them settle in a little bit before we overwhelm them too much. But Mitchell will slide in there, and I think he's excited about it. Do a good job for us, and then Dietrich will get a lot of our team separate, what we call team separate work. So he'll get a bunch of reps too.
Like I said, left guard, Marcus stays.
Marcus, he'll start out there, and again he'll also work tackle. He'll cross train at left tackle for us.
How far is Lindsey come away from being ready to?
He was a long way away this fall. That's why we redshirted him. We'll see when he gets out there. Trent is definitely the next guy. Trent's a good player. Trent. He had COVID. He had we call it mono. He had about everything you can have, and really had gotten himself in a good spot and got set back during the COVID stuff. But he's a very savvy, smart football player that can play guard and center. He's very athletic, knows the game. So he's a guy that nobody really talks much about him, but he's a good football player, and that'd be a redshirt sophomore, I guess. And so he's got an opportunity. And then Linthicum, obviously a high-level recruit, but came in here just not ready and just a little overwhelmed. So anxious to see him grow this spring and then hopefully be ready by the time we play in September.
Take one more.
Dabo, you mentioned Sheridan Jones. Kind of from a leadership standpoint, since he is one of the more experienced players, how much do you need to see from him in terms of maybe helping some of the younger guys and just kind of proving that starting role?
Yeah, I really already have seen it from him. I mean, he has really done a great job. First of all, with his body, and when y'all see him today, you'll see. I mean, he physically looks great, but he is one of the best leaders on this team. He's very committed. He's a very selfless young man, and I'm really proud of him. He lost his confidence his sophomore year, and I thought he regained it last year. I thought he kind of found his rhythm again. I thought he found his swag a little bit again, if you will, and he's just got a different vibe to him right now. I like just how he walks, how he talks, how he carries himself, and that's just that maturation process that they all go through. But he's very confident, and he's going to be a heck of a player for us. And hopefully he can have his best year. But from a leadership standpoint, he has done a great job already. I really have already seen that. So the who's going to be next there? Between Nate and Fred, and obviously Malcolm's not out there, but these young guys. But Sheridan has really done a good job of grabbing that group, putting them in the film room, and I think you'll see him coaching out there on the field all through spring as well.
All right, we'll let Coach get to the practice
Okay.
field. Thank you, everybody.